Acrophonics. As you begin working with students on developing connections between the letter names with the sounds that they produce, inevitably you have students that struggle with that relationship between the letter name grapheme and the corresponding sounds the letter name makes. So Acrophonics is a method to help those students, especially the struggling students. There is a research citation list in the video description that provides supporting evidence for this particular approach. So why teach letter names at all? Most of the time we only focus on the letter sounds. So why? Well, research says children use the names of letters to learn and remember their sounds. When you look at letter names, there are different categories you could clump them into. But for this particular discussion, I'm going to break them into three. One is acrophonic CV or consonant vowel letter names, acrophonic vowel consonant letter names, as well as non-acrophonic letter names. Looking at acrophonic CV letter names, research has shown that children perform better on letter sound tasks when the sound that the letter represents was present at the beginning of the letter name. In acrophonic CV letter names, the sound that the letter represents is in the beginning position or onset of the letter name. Letters in this category are B, D, J, K, P, T, V, and Z. The second category is acrophonic vowel consonant letter names. In these letter names, the sound that the letter represents is at the end of the letter name: F, L, M, N, R, and S. When you look at the ease of learning for students from easiest to hardest based on research, acrophonic CV letter names are the easiest. That's like the B and the D. The second easiest are the acrophonic vowel consonant letter names such as F, and finally the non-acrophonic letters such as W and Y. So here are some considerations, especially for struggling students. Many students are adept at learning the letter symbol sound relationship without a lot of intervention. However, struggling students may benefit from teaching letters in groups. Specifically, it is recommended that you begin with acrophonic CV letters, move to acrophonic VC letters, then to non-acrophonic letters with a single sound, and finally explore non-acrophonic letters with dual sounds. I'm going to take a little bit of a sidestep here and look at the research-based relationship between upper and lowercase letters. Uppercase letters are more visually distinctive than many lowercase letters. Obviously, if you look at the alphabet, you're going to see that to be the case. Children's familiarity with uppercase letters was the strongest predictor of children's lowercase letter knowledge. In fact, children were 16 times more likely to know a lowercase letter if they already knew the corresponding uppercase one. That's oftentimes why we teach them as one unit, capital A, lowercase a. The degree of visual similarity between the upper and lowercase letters also predicted children's lowercase letter knowledge. For example, letters like C, K, O, S, V, W, X, and Z are visually identical in the upper and lowercase forms and differ only in size. However, letters like B or G have completely different shapes between their upper and lower cases. Another side note has to do with how often these letters appear to students. For example, the letter E, the most frequently occurring lowercase English letter, was 3.8 times more likely to be correctly identified than the letter Q, the least frequent lowercase letter. Let's take a quick look at which vowel sounds might be most beneficial in an early phonics instruction program. The long vowel sounds of each letter are sometimes problematic because of navigating vowel teams, the EAs, the OAs, etc., as well as the silent E's, home, date. The short E and I are relatively close in sounds, so problematic as well. The U is less prevalent than other vowels, so the frequency is going to be less. This leaves the A and O as prime candidates for early phonics instruction. If you were considering teaching the acrophonic letter names with the A and the O sounds, then you would probably develop a list like I'm going to show you in just a minute. Please remember that the acrophonics approach is not intended to replace conventional reading programs. It may serve as a useful tool for supplemental instruction for struggling readers. Here is a list of acrophonic CV words that contain the vowel A and O. Here is a list of words that contain the vowel letters A and O, along with acrophonic VC letters and acrophonic CV letters. Introducing these words may be beneficial early on with phonics instruction, and then perhaps progress over to words from this list with the express intention of making what they know in terms of letter sounds into words using phonics instruction.